All right. Good morning, guys. We are looking at the Unit 9 test review. This is page 4. And let's get to it. All right. We're looking for the surface area and volume of these shapes. All right. So these two shapes are what we call compound. I think they're called compound shapes. All right. It's just kind of two three-dimensional shapes stuck together. So the first thing they're asking for is the surface area. Now, remember, the surface area is just all of the surfaces added together. All right, so we need to find the surface area of that pyramid. We need to find the surface area of this prism, and add them together. But one thing we do have to be careful of, this is a three-dimensional shape. So we have a top and we have a bottom on this guy. So we need to figure out what that bottom piece is. And then the last thing we need to consider is this kind of in between piece right here. That's not an exposed surface. All right. So if we kind of think about these two blocks stuck together, that kind of, dark blue, gray kind of area, we're not going to include that in our surface area. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to find the lateral areas of everything. So I'm going to start with a prism. I'm sorry. I'm going to start with a pyramid and we're going to go from there. So we know the lateral area of a pyramid is going to be here. Let's do this. Start with a pyramid. All right. The lateral area of a pyramid is just going to be equal to the perimeter of the base times cursive L. That was our slant height. And we divide that by 2. All right. So first things first, we can get the perimeter of this base very easily. All right, so that's just going to be, if you kind of take the 24 and just drag it up top, you got 24 on, I'm gonna assume it's a square. So 24 on all sides. So what is 24 times 4? That gives us 96. All right, so I'm just gonna say capital P equals 96. All right. Now the next thing we need to find is our slant height. And if you think about the slant height on a pyramid, it's going to be this the kind of diagonal piece. If this was a pyramid, say like in Egypt or something, and we had to walk up the side of it, that would be our slant height. All right, and to get that slant height, we have to use the Pythagorean theorem. So I'm going to say 5 squared. Ooh, that looks bad. 5 squared. Plus, we need this piece right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop 24 in half, and we're going to get a 12. So 5 squared plus 12 squared equals the slant height squared. This is a Pythagorean triple. So we could say L equals 13. Right? And that's all there is to that one. So I'm going to plug everything in here. We have 96 times, what do we got? 96 times 13. And we're going to chop all of that in half. All right, let's see what that gives us. 96 times 13 divided by 2. That's 624. All right, so there is our pyramid. Let's find the prism now. All right, so the perimeter of the base. So if we think about the prism, don't forget this kind of goes, it's a 3D shape, so it kind of goes in the back there. Oh, that looks terrible. All right, so that is just 24 plus 24 plus 24 plus 24. So that's going to be the same thing as the pyramid. So at capital P equals 96. Now the height, we need the height on this guy. That's also 24 because we know the lateral area is just the perimeter of the base times the height. All right, so let's just throw all that together. 96 times 24. Gives us 2,304. All right. And the very last thing we need, I kind of mentioned this earlier, is the area of this bottom piece here. So that is actually, I'm going to put capital B. That is the area of the base. And we're actually going to need this number for both of them here in a moment. So let's just figure that one out. 24 times 24. That gives us 576. All right. So the surface area here is going to be, let's see here, we got 624 plus 2,304 plus 576. Add all of that together real quick. 3,504. All right. Now the volume. We need the volume now. So I'm going to go back to the pyramid. The volume on this guy is 1/3 the area of the base times the height. And fortunately, we have all three of those. We know the height on this guy was equal to 5. And then the area of the base we found right here. So this is just going to be 576 times 5 divided by 3. All right. I don't know if that's a nice number or not. I'd be willing to bet it's not. No, it is. 960. All right. And now let's find the volume of the prism. That's just the area of the base times your height. All right. And again, we already know the area of the base is 576 times the height of 24. That's going to be a really big number. 13,824. All right, so the volume, add those two numbers together. We're going to have 14,784. All right, so remember the difference between the surface area and the volume. Surface area, if I had to paint this shape, all right, how much paint am I going to have to use to cover all of the surfaces? All right, whereas the volume is if this was a container or something, how much liquid could this container hold? All right, so with the surface area, we did have to add the base in there. With the volume, we don't have to worry about including or excluding anything. We just add those two volume numbers together. All right, so that one's done. So this one just kind of more of the same. But one thing to notice here is they want this in cubic inches. All right. The surface area, it doesn't specify. Um, so which one do we want to do? Let's do them both. All right. So the surface area on this guy, again, is the lateral area of everything. So let's start with the cone. All right, so we start with the cone. We know the height is 3. If I look at the radius here, that's a 4, so I'm going to throw that in there. And then the slant height, this guy right here, that's another Pythagorean triple. So we know L equals 5 to get that one Pythagorean theorem. I'm not going to go through all of that. All right. So we know the surface area of a cone is going to be pi RL. Just plug all that in. So we have pi times 3 times 5, which gives us 15 pi. All right, now that is in square inches. No, it's not. That's in square feet. All right. So what we have to do is if I want to convert that into inches, all right, I know 1 foot equals 12 inches. I also know 1 square foot equals 12 squared square inches, or 144 square inches. And just extending on that, I know 1 cubic foot equals 12 cubed cubic inches, which is going, I don't know what that is. It's 1728 cubic inches. All right. So if I wanted to figure out this area in square inches, I would have to multiply this number by 144. So this is going to be equal to 15 pi times 144 square inches, or in other words, you could say 2160 square inches. So that's how that one works. So the surface area for the, I'm sorry, that's just, I made a mistake. Right in the beginning, that's not the surface area of the cone, that is the lateral area of the cone. All right, we're not even done. That was just the top half. How do I spell cylinders? That's not right. Let's try that again. All right. Is that right? Yeah, that is right. So the cylinder, we need the lateral area for this guy, LA. This one's easy. This is just going to be, what is this one? 2 pi r times the height. We know all of that. So we have 2 times pi times the radius is 4 times the height is 6. All right. 24, that's 48. 48 pi feet. 48 pi square feet. So again, if I wanted inches, this is going to equal 48 times 144 pi inches squared, which gives us 6912 square inches. All right. And the last thing we need is the base. The base on this guy is a circle. So this is just pi times 4 squared. So this equals 16 pi square feet. Sorry about that. Square feet. All right. Which is going to be equal to, multiply that by 144. I'm running out of room here. So that's 2004. How about 2,304 pi square inches? All right, so the surface area here, I'm going to add up all of the feet square. That's 15 plus 48 plus 16. This is 79 pi feet squared, or I'm going to do the same thing with the inches now. But I left off the pi's here. All right, so that's 2160 plus 6912 plus 2304. All right. There you go. So that's the surface area in square feet or square inches. All right, now we need to find the volumes. So the volume of the cone. Oh, what's the volume of the cone? That's pi r squared, the area of the base, times, is it the slant height? What do we have here? Pi r squared times the height, area of the base times the height, divided by 3 on this one. All right. So that is going to give us, we have pi times 4 times 3 divided by 3, which is 4 pi. Cubic feet. So if I want to figure out what that is in cubic inches, I'm going to have to do 4 times 1,728 pi cubic inches. All right, whatever that number is. I already had that number before, 6912. Right. So there's your cone. Makes me think I did something wrong up here. I think we're okay. Now we get the cylinder. The volume of the cylinder is just pi r squared times h. Don't divide it by 3 because it's just a cylinder. So the area of the base here was 16 pi times the height on the cylinder is 6. All right, so that's 96 pi cubic feet. Or if we want to, multiply it by 1,728 to give us the cubic inches. Oh, that's a big number. All right. So the volume in cubic inches, just add those two together. All right. So the volume here is 172,800 cubic inches. Right? Oh, what did I forget? I left off the pi on this guy and on this guy. That's twice in one problem where I've made that mistake. That's not good. Luckily, no one watches these, so no one will know my mistake. All right. So there you go. That was 17 and 18. That took up a lot of time, so I'm going to stop the video here and I'll do 19, 20, and 21 in a separate video because it's getting kind of long. All right. So I'll see you guys in the next one.